In this story, you'll hear about a man who tried to bring joy back into his life after loss. What began as a simple act of kindness toward a struggling family soon grew into something far greater, a journey of trust, love, and building a new home together.
This is one of those stories that is hard to believe. The ups and downs of my life could be made into a movie. I have been happily married for over 30 years, or so it seemed to me. I have 3 children, whom I love dearly. I owned my own business, which started out as a service station, a gas station. If that makes more sense to you. Now it is also a convenience store. I'm not rich, but I make a good living. Let me start by saying that a few years ago, my son was hospitalized. He was 28 years old at the time. He is married, has a wife and 2 children. He was diagnosed with some kind of kidney problem. My wife, Annabelle, whom I called Annie, and I feared for our son's life. The doctors told us that if they couldn't get the kidney problem under control, he might need a kidney transplant. We didn't know what to do to help our son. The doctor told us that we could talk to family members in case a transplant was necessary. Of course, it was about my son. So I went to the lab and had them check my status to determine if I would be compatible. My wife didn't know I had done this. I decided to give him a kidney before telling. The rest of the family, the test came back the next day, and we were not a match. I asked the doctor why, after all. He was my son. What was wrong with my kidneys? I told the doctor quite loudly that I had had a few beers, but I didn't smoke. The doctor was a little embarrassed, but I didn't care. I told him how I felt. Finally, the doctor asked me to come into the office. Mr. Weller, you and your son are not a match, because according to the test, you are not his biological father. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but since you've been raising your voice too loudly, I will tell you that we've made mistakes before. So my assistants are running the test again. I was almost in shock as I walked out of the office. He's been my son for 28 years. I couldn't believe this was happening. I didn't want to tell Annie about it, just in case there was a mistake. I have to say that when I saw her, I looked upset. Everything you can imagine went through my head. What about Janice, my oldest daughter? Or Mandy, the little love of my life? Were they my children? Janice was 26 at the time and Mandy was 20. God, how I hoped the doctor was wrong. It had been 2 days and I still hadn't come to my senses. Of course, part of that had to do with the possible death of my son. And part of it had to do with whether he was my son at all. Annie, Brad's wife, Gail, and I were sitting in the waiting room. The doctor came out and said, "I have good news." I was so happy I thought he was going to tell me that the test was wrong and that my kidneys were perfect. But instead, he had good news, or rather better news, for Brad. Brad's kidneys were responding to treatment. He wouldn't end up needing a transplant. In fact, his body was adapting so well to the treatment that he could be discharged in a couple of days. He would have to watch his diet, but otherwise he should make a full recovery. Everyone was so happy for Brad. The women were crying, and Annie kissed me. There was so much relief on her face I still hadn't told her about the test. The next day, I went back to the doctor. I asked Janice, Mandy, and Annie to take a DNA sample. They asked me why it was necessary, and I explained that if any of us had a problem like Brad's, the doctor would be able to prescribe treatment much faster if he had that information. Annie was a little nervous, but agreed. The rest of us didn't hesitate. It was just a swab taken from the mouth. Janice also had one done on her children and her husband, so they would be ready if there were any problems. The next day, I went to the doctor at the hospital and gave him all the samples. He gave me the bad news that Brad and I are not blood relatives. I asked him to analyze all the samples I gave him and put them on record so that other family members could get the information if needed. I told him I would pay for all the tests. Mr. Weller, are any of them your family? They are all my family. 2 daughters, sons-in-law, grandchildren, my daughter's children, and of course my wife. But I want to know if those labeled as Janice and Mandy are my biological children. Even though they are adults, they are my children and have been all their lives. Brad was released from the hospital a few days later. He had another week to recover, and then he could go back to work. Everyone was so relieved that he wouldn't have to go through dialysis, or even worse, a transplant. I tried to stay calm, but it wasn't easy. I really needed to know if these girls were my blood. Annie asked me almost every night why I was acting so strange. I simply told her that we had been through a lot in life, and I was thinking about our children. And it wasn't a lie. I came home from work one evening, and Annie was sitting in a chair at the table, looking through some papers and crying. I realized it was the results from the hospital. They must have come in the mail. When did you do it and why? She asked me. I went to get my kidneys checked to give them to my son, since I was his father. I figured it was my responsibility. When the doctor told me I was not his biological father, I sent the test to the girls. I don't know if they are mine or not. When I was picking up the papers, Annie said, "Janice isn't yours, but Mandy is." At this point, she was crying hard. "What happens now, Dan?" I stood there, unable to find the words. I didn't know what was going to happen next. After 30 years of marriage, I had just learned that my 2 children, whom I had supported their entire lives, were not mine. I looked at Annie. We talk and talk some more. Maybe we'll stay together, maybe we'll split up. Dan, that was over 28 years ago. Can't we leave the past in the past? No, we can't. You had sex with someone, and I want to know whose children I've been supporting their entire lives. According to these tests, Janice and Brad are brother and sister. That means you had sex with someone for at least 5 years. So it wasn't a one-time fling or a mistake. Who the hell were you having an affair with? Hell, it must have happened in the first year of our marriage. It was Harvey. I had an affair with him. It was stupid. Wrong, but it's over. It seems to be all over. Ever since Harvey died about 25 years ago. He was one of our best friends and you slept with him? Did his wife Mary know about it? Did she participate in your sexual escapades? Please, Dan, let's not discuss this. I love you. This is all ancient history. Can't we just move on? Are you out of your mind? What the hell is going on with you? We got married, and within a year you started sex with Harvey. You had his child, who I raised as my own. And 2 years later, while you were still sleeping with him, we had a daughter, who I'm raising as my own as well. If he hadn't died shortly after Janice was born, you'd probably still be having sex with him. Thank God at least one of my children belongs to me. Are you ready to explain all this? Annie was crying, but I wasn't buying it. I wanted to know the truth. I deserved to know the truth. Unlike the movies, I could handle the truth. I know you and Harvey have always been friends. I always loved him. But he chose Mary over me. He got her pregnant. I loved you too, but not as much as Harvey. After he and Mary got married, I was very depressed. You asked me to marry you, and I did it half out of spite. I wanted Harvey to know that I went on living in spite of him. So you married me to mess with Harvey, and to mess with him even more. You ended up having sex with him behind my back. I asked. You were on the tow truck a lot back then. Mary was working during the day, and Harvey came by to see you. At least that's what he said. I didn't plan it, it just happened. I don't have any excuses. We had a sexual relationship, and I knew I still loved him. He would come to me and always told me that one day we would be together. We just didn't have to rush it. I was a child, and as long as he made love to me, I didn't care. He stopped seeing me after I got pregnant with Brad. I was really mad at him. He came over and saw Brad, and asked if the baby was his. I told him I didn't know. But I wasn't going to tell you anything until he married me. He laughed at me and said you could raise his baby. Do you really believe I'm that stupid? It just happened? What just happened? If you're going to convince me that it just happened, then you're stupider than I can imagine. If you stopped seeing him, what about Janice? Did that happen to her too? I told him he wasn't allowed in our house unless you or Mary were here. I had feelings for him, but I found out he was just using me for extra sex. One day, he came over and forced me to have sex with him. He said if I refused, he would tell you about Brad. He hurt me. He didn't make love to me. He hurt me a lot. When he left, he laughed and said he hoped he had put another baby in me. I couldn't tell you about it. I didn't want to lose you. Shortly after Janice was born, Harvey was taken away in a car accident. I was saddened, but relieved at the same time. I could finally put all the cheating behind me, and we could start living a normal life. I loved you more and more. Our life was good, wasn't it? I've spent my whole life trying to make it up to you. I know we had our differences, but overall we had a good marriage, didn't we? Annie asked. Yes, our marriage was good, but now looking back, I see that it was all based on lies. You cheated on me. You married me while loving another man. You had a child with another man, and then you said you were raped and got pregnant again. Without telling me, and now you're telling me to just forget about it? I don't think I can, and I don't want to. I'm going to see our lawyer and start divorce proceedings. Dan, you can't. What about our kids? What are you going to tell them? I'll leave that up to you. Just so you know, I don't think you were raped, and I believe you would have continued to have sex with him if he hadn't been removed. You have a week to tell me your story for the kids. After that, I'll tell them the truth. I take it Brad and Janice don't know that I am not their biological father? Of course they don't, no one knows but me. And now you, please, Dan. They love you. Don't hurt them by telling them that a man they've never met is their father. I am their father, and they are my children. Nothing will ever change that. I've been with them their whole lives, and that won't change. I think we'll both live here until the final contract is finalized, unless you have a lover in mind. It's inappropriate, Dan, and you know it. No, that's the problem. I've been with you for 30 years, and I don't know you. I'll move my stuff into the guest bedroom. I don't want anything more to do with you. Annie started crying as I got up from the table and began moving a few of my things into the guest room. 2 days later, I got a call from the store. They said that my wife's car had driven over a guardrail and fallen onto an embankment. According to them, it looked like she was speeding, going too fast, and didn't have time to turn. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The sheriff questioned me about any problems my wife might have had. I replied that there were none. To the best of my knowledge, he said he was classifying it as an accident, but was going to hold the report until after the autopsy. I couldn't imagine having to bring all the dirty laundry out into the light now. I loved her, but I also hated her, if that's possible. Called all the children and told them about their mother's death. Told them I was going to the hospital to identify the body. They could call a few relatives and pass on the news. I knew it was a shock to everyone, even me. Now it was on my conscience. Did she take her own life, or was it an accident? A few days later, the autopsy came back clean. Other than the blood pressure medication, the coroner found nothing. Her death was ruled accidental. At the funeral, I grieved for her. Even though I was going through a divorce, I still had strong feelings for her. After 30 years of living with her, I was glad I hadn't met with a lawyer yet. No one needed to know about Annie's secret affair. I would have to live with it. It wouldn't do any good if I told my kids about it. The day after the funeral, my 2 daughters and my daughter-in-law came into the house. I asked them to take all of their mother's personal belongings and divide them between them. All I asked for were a few pictures of us as a family. No one can understand how bad I felt unless they have gone through something similar themselves. The questions of what if kept running through my mind. What if I had never taken this test? What if I had never told about it? What if I hadn't told her I was leaving her? Would any of that have changed? Or was she just going too fast that day? Chapter 2. Get involved. This all happened 2 years ago, just before the holidays. And here I was, alone again for the holidays. My son and oldest daughter now live about 100 miles away from me. I told them I could come up for a day or two during the vacations. Mandy was a senior in college and said she was going to England with friends for the holidays. The trip was organized by the college. She had asked me about it a few months ago. She was worried that I would be alone. I tried to explain to the kids that I had been living alone for 2 years. Now I spent every day at the service station shop and was never alone there. One day, I was sitting in my big comfy chair, watching a few programs on my old television set. On came a commercial I had seen over and over again, about donating $24 a month to give a child in a third world country 3 meals a day. A roof over their head, proper health care, and a school education. What the hell? Do people really believe that? Don't get me wrong. I'm all for feeding the hungry and helping those who can't help themselves. But if I could do all that for $24 a month, I should have moved there myself. Sorry, but I'm not big on sending money and just hoping it goes to help children. To those who do it and believe in it. I wish you success and may God bless you. However, it gave me an idea. The next day, when I was at the store, one of our local priests came in. I asked him if the church was doing one of those Christmas campaigns where they put up a tree and then write on it the names of families who need help for the holidays. Well, yes. Dan, we have one. Do you have a family name you'd like to publish? No, Pastor Jim, I need the name of a family I can help over the holidays. Great, Dan. Just come to the church and pick a name. The Christmas tree is pretty full this year. A lot of people are out of work. Jim, can you give me the name of someone you think really needs help? I don't want it to be a family that is just having a hard time with a husband who got laid off. I want a family whose help during the holidays will really make a difference. I'm not just going to give the child a toy. I want to make sure this is a holiday they will never forget. Pastor Jim smiled at me. I think he realized that I wanted to make a difference in a family's life. Dan, I think I have the perfect family for you. We have a young widow with 3 children. They moved here from the big city last year. Her husband was shot during a drug deal gone bad, and she moved here to try to give the kids a fresh start in life. Okay. Jim, thank you so much. I know I'm not the church-going type, but I want to help someone this year. I'll come by later and get the name of the family. When I told Pastor Jim that I didn't like church, he understood what I meant. I believed in God, or something bigger than myself. When Annie was alive, I went to church twice a year. I always heard a sermon about where Jesus was born and when he died on the cross. The rest of the time, I attended weddings and funerals. Carmela Wilson was the name on a piece of paper I'd taken off a tree at church. A widow with 3 kids, a dress, and a phone number. Pastor Jim told me she worked as a waitress at Joe's restaurant. I think I knew who he was talking about. I've eaten at that restaurant dozens of times in the last year, if not more. I bet the waitress named Carmen was exactly who Jim had told me her name was. Went into the store and made sure everything was under control. I was a pretty hands-on boss. I decided to stop by Joe's dinner and talk to Carmen. As I walked in, I looked around, and Joe waved at me. We had been friends since we were kids. Plus, of course, we were both business owners, which made us a little more communal. I sat down at one of the tables and looked around. It was the time between breakfast and lunch, so it was pretty sparse. I noticed Carmen, who smiled and said she'd be right over. A little information about Carmen. She was in her early 30s, a pleasant-looking woman, but hardly classifiable as beautiful. She was neat and attractive, with shoulder-length dark hair. She had nice legs and a normal bust. However normal it was, it stuck out, but you couldn't put a beer on it. She definitely wasn't thin, but she wasn't fat either. Hell, explaining a woman's facial features is harder than I thought. She had a nice smile. That much I knew for sure. "What can I do for you?" she asked. "Just a cup of coffee and some conversation." "If you don't mind." "Yes for coffee, but I don't know about this conversation," she replied. "I'm sorry. I don't know how to talk to women. This is not a flirtation. I picked your name on the tree at church, and I want to be your friend for the holidays. Look, I'm not really sure what you want. I'll just go get you some coffee." I watched as she went to talk to Joe, and he shook his head. When she came back with my coffee, she said, "Okay, Joe says you're fine. I get hit on by men quite often, and I don't need that in my life right now. So what do you want? What's a holiday, friend? I know the church put my kids' names on the tree so they could have Christmas, but they never talked about a friend. Friend, this is my idea, please. Let me explain. If you want me to just buy the kids a present when I'm done, that's what I'll do." Without going into too much detail, I was watching TV when a guy said that for $24 a month, I could sponsor a child in another country. They would feed them 3 times a day, give them clothes, schooling, and a roof over their head, all for $24 a month. Dan, isn't it? My kids have $24 worth of milk a month. I can hardly make more than that. She smiled. She had such a beautiful smile. I know, I agree. Have decided that I will be adopting a family. From now until the holidays, I want to help you with your material needs through Thanksgiving and Christmas. I want your family to have a memorable Christmas. I am not rich, but I can spare enough money to try to help one family this year. And I have chosen yours. Carmen's eyes were glassy. Are you serious? I was so worried about my kids this year. You see, my husband was… I know, Carmen. He was murdered. Please let me help you help your children. If you feel I'm interfering in your life, just tell me, and I'll back off. Why are you doing this? Don't you have family you could help? Not a stranger? Look, my wife died 2 years ago. She died in a car accident. Oh God. I feel so sorry for you. It's okay. Carmen. Anyway, my holidays were pretty lousy, and I wanted to try to help someone else be happy this year. I have 3 grown children. My son is in his 30s, and my daughter, I think she's 29. They are both married and have families of their own. The youngest daughter is a college graduate who is going to England for Christmas. Neither of them are in financial difficulty, so what do you say? Shall we be friends for the holidays? You have a kind face, Dan. For the sake of my children, I'll say yes. Please, no tricks. My family and I have been through a lot in the last year, so what do you want from me? It's a good idea to start by restocking your coffee and getting an idea of some of your needs. She poured coffee and said she needed to get back to work. Joe was nice, but she needed to do her job. We agreed to talk after she left work. The next day, I asked her out to dinner, but she said she needed to be around the kids instead. I could come to her house and talk there. I could even have dinner with them. If I liked macaroni and cheese, tell you what, Carmen, I'll pick up the pizza and we can eat it. Pepperoni and cheese, okay? She smiled. That would be great, but you better bring 2 pizzas. My 8-year-old can eat half of one by himself. I went over to her place that night. I didn't know she lived in a project. For those who don't know about these places, I will tell you that they are on public assistance provided by social services or children's services. These organizations help with rent, food, and other things. The bad thing is that it's not the best place to live. A lot of drug addicts and undesirables usually live there. Now I knew that. More than anything, I wanted to help Carmen and her children. I was met at the door by her 8-year-old son. He was a cute boy and asked what I wanted. I explained that I was a pizza delivery boy and that his mom had invited me to visit. He smiled broadly and said, "Mom said her friend is bringing us pizza today. We don't get pizza from the store very often." As I entered, 2 other children ran up to me screaming, "Pizza, pizza, pizza!" "Mommy, the pizza place is here." A 6-year-old shouted. Carmen entered from the other room. You could see that she had gone to put things in order. "Children, where are your manners? I thought I taught you how to behave in company." "Sorry, Mom. We were just a little excited." Her oldest son looked at me. "We don't get visitors very often. Can we have pizza already?" "Kids, this is Dan, a friend of mine. You can call him Uncle Dan or Mr. Dan." I interrupted Carmen. "Or just call me Dan. What's your name?" The oldest spoke first. "My name is Mike and I'm 8 years old." Then the second one said, "I'm Mark and I'm 6 years old. This is my little sister, Molly." "Let me tell you," Molly said. "I know who I am. My name is Molly, and I am 4 years old, soon to be 5. I go to kindergarten, and I am very smart." She was the sweetest little girl and looked a lot like her mom. Everyone sat down at the table and started eating pizza. I looked around the room and realized that this was a struggling family. The furniture was old, and they didn't seem to have much stuff. Of course, I only saw the kitchen and living room. The TV was on, but the picture wasn't the best. While the kids ate pizza and watched cartoons on TV, I asked Carmen what she would like help with. Oh my God, I wasn't prepared for this. Look, my kids and I are doing fine. We eat pretty well, but they like what the other kids have, and I just can't afford to buy it for them. You've seen our stupid TV with the crappy picture. I bought basic cable so they have something to watch. We buy our clothes secondhand. But they are happy with whatever they get. They are really great kids. I'm afraid to buy bikes or anything else we have to leave outside. I know they'll get stolen. So, Dan, take this to heart. My kids would love any gift. Okay, I'll see what I can do to help. Your children do seem very good, Mike. Since you're the oldest, don't you think everyone would like to go to the movies on Saturday? I heard there's a new Harry Potter movie coming out. Wow, that would be great. Mom, can we go, can we? I think so, but only if you kids behave yourselves for the rest of the week. Carmen, you know this is about you two. Maybe we'll eat at McDonald's while we're there. Molly looked up at me. I like McDonald's. They have Happy Meals and playgrounds and everything, all right? Molly, be a good girl for Mommy and we'll go there on Saturday. The kids were happy, and Carmen was smiling. Decided that I had done a good job making them happy. That made me happy. It went on like that for several weekends. We took the kids to places where they could just have fun. I would go to Joe's restaurant for lunch and always sat in Carmen's area. I started leaving her big tips, $10 or so each time. Dan, you don't need to do that. Just make my kids happy. That's all I need. So you don't need the money? I smiled. That's not fair, Dan. Sure, I can use the money. I just feel awkward, to say the least. I feel indebted to you for everything you do for my kids. Can I make you guys Thanksgiving dinner or something? I need to do something for you too now. I'll talk to the kids, see what's on our agenda, and call you back. Carmen, I do this for you because it gives me pleasure. I enjoy helping. People who are trying to help themselves, please don't feel that you owe me. Just seeing the look on the children's faces is more than enough payback. Besides, seeing you smile is a pleasure in itself. You could see that it embarrassed her slightly. She looked away. Mandy came home one weekend and asked me what was new. I told her about Carmen and how I had tried to help her. Dad, do you think this is a good idea? You don't know this woman, do you? Honey, it's a new meaning of life for me to help someone and see the faces of these little ones. Honestly, I feel better about what I'm doing. I started the conversation with Carmen. I want you to meet Carmen and tell me what you think. I don't know. Dad, I'm kind of uneasy. You say they live in that neighborhood. Isn't that a pretty bad neighborhood for a single woman and her kids? Exactly. That's why I'm trying to help them. Maybe it will help them get back on their feet. Mandy, you've always been my little girl, and now you've grown into a beautiful woman. You don't need my help as much anymore. So I feel like I should help someone. I'll tell you what, I'll have Carmen come over so you can meet her and the kids, and you give me your opinion. Okay. Dad, but no promises. I'll be as honest with you as I can be. Won't sugarcoat it. I knew Mandy was a little worried. She was my rock and always looked out for me. I know she would have told me the truth. She was a lot like me. It was out of character for her to lie. On Saturday, I invited Carmen and the kids over to my house. It was a little chilly, but I decided to grill anyway. I decided that while I cooked outside, Mandy would do her own grilling inside. Carmen appeared in a wrecked car. She had all the kids buckled in and was already unbuckling their seatbelts. Mandy looked at me. Nice car. Daddy, she said, meaning, of course, the opposite. What makes you think I'm helping them? What would you say if she drove up in a new car? That's a great idea, Dad. This is for you, she smiled. Mike and Mark ran up to me. Hey, Uncle Dan. Wow, you guys live here. Wow, what a big house. I introduced the boys to Mandy as Carmen led Molly out of the car. Mike, Mark, this is my little girl, Mandy. Hi, boys. Nice to meet you, Mandy replied. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm 8 and Mark is 6. This is Molly. Getting out of the car, she's our little sister. She's 4 years old. Molly walked over to me, and I lifted her into my arms. Mandy watched me carefully. Molly is my little friend. She holds her own against her brothers. Just like you, I laughed. Carmen. This is Mandy, my pride and joy, and also my youngest daughter. As they greeted each other, I could almost feel their brains working. Finally, Carmen smiled at Mandy and said, Look, I know it's different. I know you have tons of questions about who I am and what I'm doing here. I've been asking myself the same questions. Let's just enjoy this day and I'll try to answer some of those questions. I think your father is one of the nicest people I've ever met. So show me the kitchen, and we can cook together. Men think that since they cook meat, grilling is a whole meal. We women know better. Mandy looked at me. I like her already, Daddy. They smiled at each other, and we headed into the house. The kids wanted to explore the house. I told them it was okay, but to stay out of the drawers and not to run around. They went from room to room, then came back and told their mom about everything they saw. They asked if they could watch my big screen TV. I asked them if they wanted to go to the store with me and pick out a couple DVDs to watch. Of course. They said yes, and Molly asked if she could go too. Carmen intervened. Molly, why don't you stay here with me and Mandy and help us cook? We girls need to be together. She must have told Molly what was needed. Because Molly looked at me and said, Uncle Dan, take the boys and go ahead. I have to help the girls cook. It was so funny to hear that from a 4-year-old. I told her that it was okay, and that I would rent a movie just for her. I ended up renting the movie, The Little Mermaid, for her, and she was smiling a lot when she watched it. She asked Mandy and her mom to watch it with her. She told the boys that they could watch it too, but they had to be quiet. It was so funny to hear her trying to act like an adult. The girls decided that we would spend Thanksgiving at our house. Carmen and Mandy would cook dinner, and I would keep the kids busy, which wasn't too hard to do. I have a pool, but it is closed for the winter. However, I also have a hot tub. The kids were going to bring their bathing suits and soak in it. Afterwards, they would watch movies on the big TV. We had over a month to plan Thanksgiving dinner, so Mandy said she would contact Brad and Janice and let them know about dinner at our house. She would also tell them about Carmen and the kids. Also, that anyone who wanted to use the hot tub should bring their bathing suits. I had a nice chat with Mandy after Carmen and the kids went home. Dad, Carmen is a very nice person. She is very sympathetic and is not afraid of work. She told me about her past and about her husband's murder. It was horrible. Everything she had to go through. I understand why you want to help her. Especially with the children. She doesn't make excuses for her life. And you can see that she is really trying to keep it together. I have to tell you, Daddy, that I think she really cares about you. Of course she will. I'm helping her and her family. I hope she'll be grateful to me. At least a little. No. Daddy, I mean care in the sense of really like, maybe even love. She didn't say that, did she? Dad, she didn't have to say it. We women can sense these things. I think you've fallen in love with her too. Daddy, all I ask is that you be very careful and considerate. Come on, Mandy, I'm just happy for her. This is the happiest I've seen you since Mom died over 2 years ago. Dad, I'm glad to see you happy. I just want you to be more aware of your situation. I knew Mandy was right. I had feelings, strong feelings, for Carmen and the kids. I didn't know where they would lead, but I recognized it. I just didn't know anyone else was as observant. I got a separate call from Brad and Janice. I did my best to explain that I was helping Carmen during the holidays, and that I had learned the family's name from the Christmas tree at church. I think I did a pretty good job of embellishing the situation. Explained to them that Carmen wanted to say thank you by helping prepare Thanksgiving dinner. I knew they were a little wary of the situation, but agreed to come to dinner. For the next couple of weeks, Carmen and Mandy helped organize all the events. They acted almost like sisters, with Carmen being the oldest and doing most of the planning. Of course, Mandy went to school most of the week and came home on Fridays. I stopped by almost every day for lunch at the restaurant, mostly to see Carmen, at least twice a week. I stopped by her apartment to say hello to the kids and bring them some treats. Carmen told me that I spoiled them. I have to say, it bothered me a little when I watched Carmen at her job. She was always so friendly and nice to everyone. I saw men hitting on her, but she always smiled and refused advances or dates. I guess it was natural for me. I had no right to be jealous of her, even for dating, let alone being friendly with other people. Chapter 3, Change On. Thanksgiving Day, Carmen and her children arrived early. She looked very beautiful. She wasn't dressed in any special way, But even in a skirt and blouse, she was a very attractive woman. She and Mandy had already started cooking. Mandy told us that she had invited her boyfriend to dinner as, well, I had met him a few times. He was a paramedic and was still taking classes at the college, where he met Mandy, who was training to be a nurse. They were both part of a group going to England to help out at the hospital. During the vacations, they would leave the week before Christmas and return home on January 8th the following year. It was less than a month before they left, but it would be sad if she wasn't around during that time. Brad, his wife Gail, and my 2 grandchildren showed up. I hugged them all, and the kids asked when they could go in the hot tub. I told them I wanted to introduce them to the other kids first. Later, I introduced them to Mike, Mark, and Molly. All the kids seemed to get along great with each other. We walked to the kitchen, and Mandy hugged her brother and started introducing him to Carmen. Brad, Gail, this is Carmen, a good friend of Dad and me. I felt good when she said that. Brad said hello, but I knew the gears were turning in his head. Gail said hi and asked the girls if they needed help. No sooner had everyone gotten back to cooking than Janice and her husband, Rob, came in. We started getting reacquainted, and Janice's kids ran down to the basement to play with the other kids. In the basement, we had a lot of games, coloring books and things like that for the kids. It had been completely remodeled and had a TV and DVD player, so there was plenty for the kids to do. The women went back to cooking, and we guys tried to stay out of their way. I knew the guys wanted to know more about Carmen. I tried to explain her story to them without showing my feelings. I guess I wasn't very good at it. She looks good. Daddy, how old is she? About the same age as me? Brad asked. She's 31 years old, Brad. She's a wonderful person and deserves a little help. Rob put in, Daddy. He always called me Daddy. Aren't you afraid she might fall in love with you? Or you with her? Look, I'm a widower and she's a widow. Of course she's much younger. But if something happens, so be it, Dad. You haven't been with her. This is kind of inappropriate and definitely personal. Brad, since you're my son, I'll tell you, no. Believe it or not, I didn't even try to kiss her. I'll tell you right now that she's a wonderful woman and I care about her. I'm sorry. Dad, I know it's none of my business and you must miss Mom. After all, it's been 2 years. This has nothing to do with your mother. In case you haven't noticed, I'm a very lively person. And if I find someone attractive, that's my business. I suggest we change the subject. Actually, we'd better go check on all the kids. Your wives are cooking. And you two had better babysit. We went downstairs and watched the kids. Carmen's children seemed to get along fine with everyone. Every few minutes, Molly came up to me to talk. I knew it bothered Brad, but Rob thought she was the sweetest little girl. Mandy went downstairs and brought her boyfriend Ross down to introduce him to everyone. I'd met him a few times, and I think he had met Brad before. After introductions, Mandy went back upstairs and Ross joined the conversation. Just met Mandy's friend Carmen. She's a very nice woman. Mandy told me that her husband was murdered. That's too bad. I called Carmen's kids over and introduced them to Ross. Good. Kids, too bad their father was killed. Think it's great that you're helping them. Mr. Weller, thank you, Ross. I picked a name off the tree at church, and I actually found a family in great need. I didn't want anyone to know that I had asked Pastor Jim to find a certain type of family. So, Ross, what's new with you? School and work must be taking up a lot of your time. Yes, that's true. But we're going on a trip in a couple of weeks. Although it's work-related, I'll have a chance to get away for a while and be with Mandy. How are you and Mandy doing? Brad asked. Ross looked at me, then back at Brad. I love her, and I'm thinking of asking her to marry me when we're in England. In front of Big Ben, you know, the big clock, Mr. Weller. Do I have your permission to propose to her? Ross, you don't need my permission. Mandy is a strong-willed woman and quite capable of making her own decisions. If you need my blessing, you'll get it. Is that a sure thing? Should I ask her? I think so. But please, none of you mention it just in case. I will try to find out if she is ready to get married before I pop the question. I love her. But I want a yes answer, he replied. Our lips are sealed. Ross, and good luck to you. I understood how he felt. Truth be told, I felt the same way he did, but I knew it was best not to talk about it right now. The afternoon went wonderfully. Dinner was fantastic, and everyone seemed to enjoy themselves. The kids took turns. Swimming in the hot tub, I couldn't get any of the adults to go in it. Carmen told me maybe another time. I knew I would hold her to that. As the evening wore on, Mandy and Ross left to be alone. I helped Carmen clean the house. Janice and Gail came over and helped. When we were done, Brad and his family were just about to leave. Brad told Carmen that it was nice to meet her and wished her luck. He hoped everything would work out for her. Before leaving, Janice pulled me aside. "Daddy, Carmen is a good person, but she's too young for you." "Where did that come from?" "I'm helping her." "Dad, she loves you. Any fool can see that." We asked her if she was dating, and she said she had a boyfriend. "Daddy, you are that boyfriend. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come here today. Just be careful, Dad." After everyone left, Carmen gathered the kids and told me she had a great time. She liked my family and thought they were all nice. I don't know why I did it, but I leaned forward and kissed her. It was a long, soft kiss. When we pulled away, tears came to her eyes. "You didn't have to do that." "Dan, I have to go." She picked up the kids, who quickly said goodbye to me, and got into the car. I went to the car window and said to Carmen, "I'm sorry. I stepped out of line. Please forgive me. The problem is, Dan, I've wanted you to do this for so long." With those words, she pulled her old car off the road and headed home. I didn't hear from her on Friday, Saturday, or even Sunday. I was worried about what I had done. On Monday, I went to the restaurant, but she wasn't there. Joe told me that she had to take Molly to daycare today and would be back in a little while. I had to stop by the store and decided to come back at lunchtime. But one of my employees was sick and I had to stay and work my shift. I tried to give Carmen some space after I crossed the line. After all, I was supposed to be a vacation buddy, not her lover. I got home, and then my phone rang. I looked at the caller ID and saw that it was Carmen. "Hi, Carmen. I'm so sorry, Dan. Our apartment was broken into. I just got home from taking the kids, and someone took our stuff, even the old TV. All we have left are our clothes," she cried. "I don't know what to do. The police are here now, taking a report. They thought it was someone looking for things to pawn for drugs. We don't have anything of value, but they took what little we had." God, how awful it was to hear her cry. "Carmen, get your suitcases or bags or something and put your and the kids' clothes in there. I'll be there in about 15 minutes. Everything will be fine. I promise you." "Dan, I didn't know who else." "It's okay, Carmen. I'm glad I was the one you called. Now go pack your things, and I'll be there soon." I took the car and went to get Carmen and the kids. Molly was crying and said she was scared. I told her everything was going to be okay. I would take them all back to my house. Carmen looked up at me in surprise. "I thought you were dropping us off at a motel for the..." "Did you know? You're all going home with me. Put all the stuff you packed in your car. Take my car and the kids. I'll drive yours with your stuff." Didn't ask any questions. She just did what I said. I talked to the police officer and told him they could contact her at my house. I gave him my phone number if he needed to reach us. He told me that they probably wouldn't get any of her stuff back. She didn't list anything of real value that they could trace. All they did was trash the apartment pretty badly. I thanked the officer, got into Carmen's clunker and tried to start it. I was unable to start it. The officer helped me, and I headed home. When I arrived, Carmen and the children were sitting on the porch. "It's open. Why didn't you come in?" "You weren't here, and we weren't just going to walk in," Carmen replied. "Come on. Boys, help me get all these bags in. Mike, you and Mark take your stuff to the bedroom with the bunk beds. If it's Molly's stuff or your mom's stuff, put it in the front bedroom, the one across from Mandy's room. You know which one?" "Yes, sir." "The boys' stuff is upstairs, the girls' stuff is downstairs. If you're not sure, put it in the living room and your mom will decide for herself. Carmen, you need to come and talk to me. Molly, why don't you help the boys and make sure they do it right?" Of course, Molly liked her job of telling the boys what to do. "Dan, what are you doing? We can't live here. What will your kids think? Carmen, you need help right now, today. Let's try to do this my way for a few days. That will give us time to figure out what to do. You and Molly can share the front bedroom, and the boys will be more than comfortable upstairs. Dan, the boys have school and Molly has kindergarten. I have to work. And how does living here get in the way of that? You just have to leave about 15 minutes early. I can help too. I'll drive Molly or the boys to school. Call them tomorrow and explain that your house was broken into and that you'll be driving the boys to school. Give my name so I can drop them off and pick them up. It'll work out, Carmen. I promise. Dan, I care about you. I like you a lot. Your kids know that, and I need you to know that. Did you tell them? I asked. No, women just know it, men. I don't know. Men think differently. I don't know about your son, Brad. But Mandy, Janice, and Gail all know I'm sorry. It's not just something I can hide. I wear my feelings on my sleeve. I guess. I'll worry about my kids. You already have enough to worry about. Oh, and I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry I kissed you. Just thought you should. No, I went upstairs where the boys slept and made sure the dresser drawers were empty. Carmen helped the boys lay out their clothes. While they were doing that, little Molly and I went downstairs and emptied the dresser drawers in their room. I was glad I had taken my wife's things after she died. It made the task much easier. Everyone came into the room with Molly and me. Molly asked her mom if she could put her things in the drawers. I took the boys, and we went to find something for dinner while Carmen put away her personal belongings. The boys and I made hot dogs and macaroni and cheese. When everything was ready, we sat and talked while we ate. Carmen asked me about the rules of behavior in the house. I told her that we would establish them as we went along. We told the kids that they needed permission to do anything they wanted to do until we set the rules. They were told they could not enter my room or office without an invitation. They were not allowed near the pool at all. It was closed. But they were still children. We made sure they understood they could drown. They could only go in the hot tub with permission from mom or me. It wasn't supposed to be a daily event. They could only watch TV with permission from mom or me. It was their responsibility to keep their room clean. Carmen laughed, knowing the boys weren't the neatest. At least the rules were set. I looked at the boys and Molly, who was always smiling at me. Kids, this is your home now. You can be kids and have fun. Just remember to always ask your mom for permission if you're not sure what you should do. Uncle Dan, what if we get hungry? Mike asked. Eat. That's what I do when I get hungry. Tomorrow, Mommy and I will buy you snacks. You will always have food. Just remember, when it comes to food, your mom is the boss. One more thing, and I mean this. If your mom says no, don't come and ask me. If I say no, don't put your mom on the spot. No means no. Any other questions? Molly raised her hand. It made me laugh. I guessed she'd learned it in kindergarten. What, honey? Carmen asked. Are we allowed to play with the toys in the basement? Because they're not ours. Honey, you can play with all the toys we have downstairs. We'll talk to Santa this year, and he'll probably get you some of your own, I told Molly. Molly raised her hand again. Can I go play with them? Yes, honey, you go ahead. I'll come down and be with you in a little while, Carmen said. Molly stood up and headed downstairs. Not 10 seconds later, the boys followed her. One of them shouted upstairs, Uncle Dan, can we turn on the TV? I shouted back, yeah, go ahead. Just not too loud. Carmen came over to me and hugged me. There were tears in her eyes as she said, I don't know what I would have done if it hadn't been for you. She pulled away and wiped her tears. We didn't kiss or hug again. I knew I had to say something. Not funny, not too serious. I squeezed her hands and said, I'll always be here for you. Let's go see what the kids are doing. Together we headed down to the basement. It was like a family. I remembered Annie and me doing the same thing, sitting and watching the kids play. It felt so right. It was getting late, and Carmen told the children they should take a bath and get ready for bed. There were 3 bathrooms in the big house. She asked the boys to use the one upstairs, and asked if Molly could use the main bathroom on the first floor. Carmen, this is your home now. Of course, Molly can use the big tub and shower. I'll use the shower in the basement if I need to. Please, Make yourself at home. While Carmen got the kids ready for bed, I went to my office to work on my books. When I looked up, I saw Molly standing in the doorway. She was in her little nightgown, fresh out of the shower. "Hi, Molly, do you need anything? I want to kiss you goodnight, but Mom said I can't go into your office until you say so. Come on in." "Sweetie." She ran in, climbed into my lap, and wrapped her little arms around my neck. She kissed my cheek. "Good night, Uncle Dan." "Good night, sweetheart." "Where's Mommy?" "She's upstairs arguing with Mikey and Marky." "Well, let's go see if we can help." Molly ran ahead, and I followed. We caught them in the middle of their argument. But Mike always gets his way because he's older. I just asked for the top bunk, and he said he gets his pick because he's older. Carmen looked at Mike. I stood back and listened. "Is that what you said, Mike? That you get everything first because you're older?" "Yeah, I guess, but I'm older than Mark. And I need to be treated like I'm older." "Mike, you're 2 years older than your brother. That should make you 2 years smarter. Do you think it's worth arguing about which bed you sleep in?" "I'll tell you what. He's your little brother, and he's always looking up to you. Come up with a plan to share the top bed. Something you can both agree on." Mike looked at Mark. "Okay, Mark. You can have the top bunk this month. Next month I'll take it. We'll swap every month. Is that okay?" "Yeah, thanks, Mike. You're a great big brother," Mark said, climbing into the top bunk. "You feel good inside, don't you, Mike?" His mom asked. "Yeah, I guess I do, Mom." Carmen kissed her sons. And then we went downstairs where she put Molly to bed. "I have to get back to my papers. And I need to shower and get ready for bed myself," Carmen said. I went back to my office. A little later, I heard the shower running. I couldn't help but think of Carmen in there. When she finished, she came out in her nightgown and robe, her hair still wet. "Good night, Dan, and thank you again for everything." I looked up and asked, "Is there anything you don't look good in?" She smiled and headed to bed. Her fresh scent lingered in the air. I took a few deep breaths and continued working. Our first morning together passed in a rush. Carmen asked me to call Joe and warn him that she might be a little late. She needed to stop by the school and daycare so they knew I could pick up the kids if needed. She also had to file a change of address. I called Joe, and he asked if I was serious about Carmen. He didn't want her to get hurt. He was in his 60s, had been married over 40 years, and I got the feeling he was looking out for her. His wife worked as a cook in the restaurant, so I knew he was genuine. I let him know I would never hurt Carmen or the kids. I wanted to help them, and I had feelings for all of them. That evening, we went back to her old apartment and packed up everything she wanted, which wasn't much. She turned in her keys at the office and informed them she had moved out. The rent for the month was already paid, so she didn't have to give notice, especially after the break-in. Mike and Mark came with me in the truck, while Carmen and Molly followed in her clunker. When we got back, the phone rang. Carmen answered. It was Mandy. Mandy asked Carmen why she was at the house. Carmen explained how her apartment had been broken into and how she and the kids were nearly homeless until I offered them a place. Mandy asked to talk to me. "Dad, are you sure about this? You know she loves you, right?" "What do you think I should have done, Mandy? Just give her some money and tell her to manage on her own? I care about her. You know that we're adults and we haven't done anything wrong. Honestly, I'm pleased she and the kids are here. It's almost like the good old days. I just want to say, Dad, it's a fine line you're walking. I really like Carmen, like a sister. You know that. I'm just saying you two need to be careful and realize what you're doing. Now, can I talk to Carmen again?" They talked for about 20 minutes while the boys and I carried in the rest of the stuff and stored it. When Carmen gave me the phone back, I asked, "What did she want?" "It was mostly girl stuff. But she's worried about you and me. What's there to worry about? My God, we're adults. I'm in my 50s. I've made it this far. I think I can make good decisions for a decrepit old man who has no mind of his own. Dan, she knows how much I care about you. I told her that myself. Now you know, I tried to explain that I have no idea where this is going, but you helped me and the kids, and I'm eternally grateful. My feelings overpowered my gratitude. Mandy is worried that one of us will get hurt. I told her I would never come between you and your family. Okay, let's just keep living one day at a time. Maybe time is the answer. Just then, Mike and Mark walked in. Uncle Dan, can we all go in the hot tub? I looked at Carmen, then back at the kids. Only if your mom comes in. I don't want you going in there alone. Come on, Mom, please, please. You're going to love it. It's warm, nice, and has lots of bubbles. Please, Mommy. Okay, boys. I'll be gone for a while. Go get your swimsuits. Molly, get yours too, and I'll be right there. She turned to me. You're the one who set me up, aren't you? I just smiled, and she smiled back. She went and put on a two-piece swimsuit. Are you happy now? She asked, walking past me with a smile. Very much so. You look good in anything. I bet you'd even look good naked. I teased. Pervert, she laughed as she walked toward the hot tub. The kids were already waiting. Damn, she looked even more beautiful climbing into the water. This woman had everything. After a few minutes, I handed Carmen a drink. She smiled. The water is really nice. My sick body really needed this. The kids sat and watched the bubbles. Thanks, Uncle Dan. That's really cool. I mean, hot. No, I mean nice. Well, you know what I mean, Mike said, making everyone laugh. I took one more look at Carmen and headed back to my office to finish paperwork. Later, I heard everyone going inside and getting ready for bed. I knew that in a few minutes I'd see Molly peeking into my office. She'd smile, waiting for me to tell her it was okay to come in. No person with feelings could reject that little girl, or her mom. Molly came in, climbed into my lap, kissed me, and hugged me. Good night. Uncle Dan, see you in the morning. Like I said, I had a combination gas station, self-service, and a small grocery store. I no longer repaired cars, but I had a tow truck that I used from time to. Carmen called me and told me that her car wouldn't start again. Was getting annoyed with this old car. I got the tow truck and drove to the diner to pick Carmen up. There were two guys there who said they would hook up her battery. I knew they were trying to hit on her, probably hoping for more. She later told me she refused them, saying her friend would come get her. When I pulled up in the tow truck, the two guys quickly backed off. I looked at Carmen and told them, "Thanks for helping my fiancé, but I'll take it from here." Apparently, that made them nervous. They left pretty quickly. I hooked up her clunker, and she climbed into the truck. Since the cab was mounted so high, I could see a lot of leg as she climbed in. She took her time straightening her dress. "Thanks for coming. Dan, I told you I'd always be there for you, and I meant it. Are you mad that someone else offered to help me?" "Yes and no. I want everyone to know what a wonderful person you are, but I guess it bothers me when people hit on you." "I didn't do anything wrong, Dan. I know. I was just answering your question. Besides, I don't own you. You told those guys I was your fiancé. Why did you say that?" I didn't answer her. I just drove down the road and pulled into the junkyard. "What are we doing here, Dan?" "I'll give you a couple hundred for that pile of junk. You've already put enough into it. Get your personal belongings out and put them in this garbage bag. We'll go through it later." "Dan, what am I supposed to drive?" "We'll talk later. Right now, we need to hurry and get the kids in time." She stowed her things in the truck. Shoes, toys, everything. We signed the title and got $300 for the clunker. Then we picked up Molly's car seat and headed home. Opened the garage door and told Carmen she could drive my old car. It only had 8,000 miles on it and was 4 years old. I'd bought it with the insurance money from Annie's accident. Her car had been totaled. I usually drove the truck, so the car was rarely used. The only time I took it out was to drive Carmen and the kids somewhere. She put Molly's car seat in and left to pick up the boys. When they returned, Mark proudly said, "We got a new car. It's way nicer than Mom's old one." "Dan, I'll pay you for the car. How much do you want?" "Carmen, just drive the damn car. You need something better, and this is a good car. I'll keep it in my name and pay the insurance. It'll save you a few bucks." "Dan, I don't want to say this, but what if we don't stay together? If I move somewhere else?" "Are you thinking of moving?" "God, no. I was just wondering what I'd do with the car if you kicked us out." "God, Carmen, I never meant to give the impression you were leaving. I'm sorry. I couldn't believe this was our first fight over that stupid car. Carmen, I promise you'll never be without a car. If you want me to put it in writing, I will. I just worry about you and that old clunker. I want you safe, and I want you here with me. I couldn't believe it. But she came up and kissed me. I didn't know if it was impulse or not, but it felt good. Molly looked at her brothers. Mom just kissed Uncle Dan. Kids, it was a thank you for letting us use his car. No. Kids, it's your mother's car now, not mine. She kissed me because I gave it to her. Carmen turned and kissed me again. Okay. Everyone, time to get ready for dinner. Do you want me to cook? Or should Mom drive us all to McDonald's in her new car? McDonald's! Everyone shouted. Chapter 4. Hits the fan. I was at the store on Friday. Carmen was at work. My kids, Brad, Janice, and Mandy, came in to see me. Daddy, we need to talk to you. Can we go over to your house for a while? It was more a statement than a question. Sure, go ahead. I'll be there in a few minutes. Just let me in. I knew what this was about. I was ready. When I walked into the house, all three were waiting in the living room. Dad, this is about Carmen and her kids. It looked like Brad was the spokesman. Holy hell, Brad, you drove 2 hours for this? I already know why you're here. What the hell did Carmen do that you dislike her so much? Well, she doesn't disgust me, Dad. It's just, one day you're helping her and the next she's living here with her kids. I noticed your car's gone too. I take it you gave it to her. Since you're my children, I'll explain. But before I begin, I want to tell you I'm disappointed in all of you. Dad, I think this woman is using you. You're lonely without Mom. Then she comes along, and you fall in love. She knows you have needs, and she's meeting them. You fell in love. And now she's got it all worked out. Her kids are taken care of. Mandy jumped up. Brad, you may think that, but I know Carmen better than you do. She would never do that to Daddy. I feel like she loves him, and honestly, I think Daddy loves her too. I'm here to support both of them, not you, Brad. Brad, if you weren't my son, I'd knock you off that chair. Let's start with Carmen breaking into the house. What do you think I should have done, Brad? Just give her money. Avoid her? Tell her it's her problem? I did what my heart thought was right, not my groin. Janice spoke up. Daddy, are you telling me you never had sex? Janice, no. Carmen and I have never been intimate. Not yet, and frankly, it's none of your business. Now for the big surprise, I'm thinking of asking Carmen to marry me. What? Brad shouted, Dad, you hardly know her. She's got baggage, not to mention 3 kids. I have to agree with Brad, Janice added. Carmen is closer to my age. Isn't she too young for you? Look, guys, I'm on my own. You're all on your own. I found a woman I care about. According to Mandy and Carmen herself, she cares about me too. I have a big house, and I'm willing to share it with her and her children. Why are you so against this? Brad answered, Okay, Dad, let's say you love each other. She has 3 young kids. Do you really want to start over and raise them? I'm crazy about those kids. Playing with the boys reminds me of raising you. Brad, Molly hugs me and sits on my lap, just like my girls did when they were little. They're good kids, and I think I can make a big difference in their lives. Dad, you're looking through rose-colored glasses. These aren't your children. They're not your flesh and blood. Do you really think you can take care of them for 20 years? They're not even yours. I'm sorry, Dad, but I don't think you want to spend that many years raising kids who aren't even yours. What do you think, Janice? Should they be my flesh and blood too? I don't know, Daddy. I love you and you'll always be my father, but raising someone else's child, I don't know. Let me phrase it differently. Would you have loved me all your life if I hadn't been your father? Would you still consider me your father? You're my father. It's too hypothetical. But yes, since you paid my bills and raised me, I'd consider you my real father. I don't know what this has to do with Carmen's kids. I'll be back in a minute. I have something to show you. I went to get the DNA tests we'd done. When I came back, I explained. Your mom and I kept some secrets we never planned to tell you. But this thing with Carmen's kids has gotten out of hand. I love those babies, and I know I could be a good father to them. I'll show you why. I handed them copies of their DNA tests with mine. What is it, Daddy? Janice asked. These are the results of Brad's and your DNA, see? Your brother and sister, you have the same biological parents. Here are Mandy's results, see? Not all the same blocks match. That means only one parent is likely the same as yours and Brad's. Mandy began to cry. Are you telling me you're not my biological father? No, Mandy, here's my DNA. I'm not Brad's or Janice's biological father. Everyone was shocked. The room fell silent. What? Brad shrieked. You've always been my father. Janice cried. Is that why you asked me about my father, Daddy? Now I can answer honestly. You are my father. I don't care what some stupid test says. You'll always be my dad. I love you so much. I came here today just to make sure you didn't make a mistake with Carmen. Now I'm so confused. I just want you to be happy. I thought I was taking care of you. She cried. And I hugged her. Mandy joined her, her sister. Brad asked, Are you going to tell us the story about our sperm donor father and how long you've known? First, Brad, I want you and Janice to know. I've always considered you my children from the moment I found out until now. Nothing has changed. You were and always will be my son. And Janice will always be my daughter. It's not just blood that holds a family. Together, it's love and compassion. I'll tell you the story. The only thing I'll change is when I found out your mother and I married young me, and a guy named Harvey KD both loved your mom. Harvey also loved a woman named Mary. Got her pregnant and they married. I was happy to have your mom to myself. I asked her to marry me, we did, and I was very happy. A few years later, your mom told me about Harvey. The four of us stayed friends. Then your mom got pregnant, that was with you. Brad, 2 years later, Janice was born. Shortly after, Harvey died. Your mom was depressed. One day she broke down and told me about you two being Harvey's kids. I was shocked. We separated for about a month to process it. But I missed my two young children. Annie and I talked and decided to try again. After that, your mom became the best wife a man could ask for. She fell in love with me, and I always loved you as if you were my own children. Then Mandy came along. Annie swore she was mine. That was it. We had our family. You know how we lived after that. We were a wonderful family. Till your mom's accident. Daddy, why did you take the test to give me a kidney if you weren't my biological father? Brad asked. I hoped and prayed I'd be a match. You were my son. I would give you my kidney in a second. If we were a match? Janet asked. Dad, did you ever take a match test before Brad went into the hospital? No. It was very expensive at the time, and I had no reason to do it. Your mom had already told me the truth. There were no surprises. Of course, when I took the test later, there was no doubt, but I wasn't surprised. By the way, I have the test results for all your families. Brad, you and Gail are the biological parents of your children. Janice, you and Rob are also the parents of your children, just in case you wanted to know. Now that we've talked about it, you don't need to tell anyone about this conversation. Your mother was a good mother and a good wife. Let's just leave it at that. I'm sorry. Dad, I made such a fool of myself. I guess I was thinking more about how it would affect us than how it would affect you and Carmen. At those words, my son began to cry. I hadn't seen him this emotional since his mother's funeral. Brad, I know that in situations like this, people are always worried about their inheritance. It's not a good thing. But that's how real life is. I think you guys are more worried about your inheritance than about Carmen and my well-being. I saw reality set in when Brad and Janice both looked at the floor. Look, you three will always be in my will. My estate is arranged so that each of you will get a fair share. I just want you to know that I am disappointed that you haven't shown compassion for Carmen and her children. Janice was still crying. The thought of not being my daughter overpowered even the thought of inheritance. She kept hugging me, telling me she didn't believe the stupid test, that I was her father, and that I would always be. I hugged her back and held her close. I was just about to hug Mandy when Carmen pulled up. Well, guys, looks like we're all going out to dinner, unless you want to tell Carmen why you're really here, I said. Carmen walked in. Hello, everyone. What brings you here? Mandy thought quickly. It's my last day off before leaving home, and we all decided to go out to dinner. Oh God, that would be great. Give me a minute to change out of my waitress uniform. Kids, talk to Mandy, Janice. And Brad while Mom gets dressed. Molly walked over to Brad and gave him a hug. Hi. Brad, I like you. Brad looked at me. It had gotten to him, what I'd been talking about. Mike walked over to Janice. You brought your kids so we can play? We're learning to share our toys better. No, honey. They're at home. Maybe you can come over after Christmas and see them. May I, Uncle Dan, please? I've never been to their house. We'll see, Mike. It's still a couple of weeks away, I replied. Mandy asked Mark what new things had happened. We bought a new car, and Mom kissed Uncle Dan. Everyone looked at me. Carmen walked back in and saved the day. Yes, thanks, and I kissed him twice for letting us use the car. In fact, we're going to use it right now to drive to dinner. Come on, kids. Get back in the car. Uncle Dan will be driving, so you all have to sit in the back. After we ate, Brad came over and spoke to me privately. I'm so sorry, Dad. I'm a fool. I shouldn't have questioned you. No, you're right to wonder about what might affect you. Brad, it's just the way you did it. I want you to question my actions if they bother you a lot. We'll discuss them like father and son until we understand each other. He smiled when I said father and son. Later, I talked about it with Janice too. I wanted my children to always know that I was there for them. To this day, I don't know if I made the right decision telling them, but it was done. Mandy asked if I would babysit because she wanted to go Christmas shopping with Carmen. I asked if they could grab something for me too. I gave them a list and enough money. They could leave the items in storage, and I would pick them up later. I wanted to buy the kids bicycles. Every kid should have a bike, and now they lived in a neighborhood where they could ride them. I pulled Carmen aside. Do you need money for shopping? No, I'm not shopping for myself. Just for you and the kids for Christmas. I got this $300 when my friend sold my old car. I knew she was too proud to take more money. She wanted to give the kids nice things. Without spoiling them, not easy to do, asked if I could use her car to take the kids shopping. She laughed. Just be careful with it. And don't eat in it. I only got it a few days ago. She smiled. I took the kids to see Santa and take pictures, then I told them, we're shopping for Mom for Christmas. You can each pick out a gift for her. Uncle Dan, Mark said, I don't have any money. I want to buy Mom something nice. Okay, kids. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'll give each of you $20. It's only for your mom, not for yourselves. So look for things that cost less than $20. Uncle Dan, can we carry the money ourselves? Mike asked. Okay, but keep it in your pocket so you don't lose it. Only take it out when you're ready to pay. I gave each boy a $20 bill, and they folded them up carefully. Molly had a little purse with her junk in it, and we tucked her bill inside. Of course, the kids had no idea what money was. They kept looking at things far too expensive. Seeing this wasn't going well, I took them to a store geared towards children. The clerk walked them around and showed them what they could afford. I told her that if they wanted to buy anything extra, to let me know. I couldn't believe how hard these little ones were working to find the right thing for their mom, the oldest. Mike came to me. Uncle Dan, Mom loves unicorns. One costs $25. Could you lend me the difference? Well, Mike, when you say loan, that means you'll have to pay me back. I'll offer you a deal. I'll give you the difference and you wash my truck. Deal. Thank you, Uncle Dan. He ran back to buy the unicorn. Mark was watching movies. I walked up. Mark, you're supposed to be shopping for your mom. Yes. Uncle Dan, Mom likes Titanic, the story about the ship. She also likes Shrek. It made her laugh. I don't have enough money for both movies, and I'm trying to decide. Take them both. Mark, here's the extra money you'll need. When Mike washes my truck, you'll help him. Thanks. Uncle Dan, Mom will like them. I looked over at Molly. She was still shaking her head. What's the matter, Molly? Can't you find what you need? None of them smell like Mom. I want one that smells like her. I looked at the saleswoman and whispered. White diamonds, she whispered back. Sir, that's $50, but tell her it's a special offer. She can have it for $20. I'll give you the difference. The clerk turned to Molly. I have a bottle of perfume. Does it smell like your mother? That's it. It smells like Mom. Do I have enough money? You're a lucky girl. This is our last bottle and it's worth exactly $20. Molly smiled, pulled out her little purse and paid. We picked up our purchases and went to see Santa again for pictures. Afterward, I asked the kids if they wanted to help me buy a present for Mandy. She was going to England, and I wanted to get her new luggage. I'd already paid for her trip as a Christmas gift. The kids were excited to help. I made a show of needing their advice. This way, Uncle Dan, the suitcases are here, one of the boys said. Thank you, boys. Now I need a set with 5 items. They counted and found a set with 5. I want to help, Uncle Dan. What can I do? Molly asked. Honey, you can pick the color. Pick one you think Mandy will like. She walked over and picked a dark blue set. The boys agreed it had 5 pieces, so that's what we bought. Thank goodness she didn't pick the pink one. It only had 3. We stopped at a burger place, had lunch, and headed home. The kids asked where they could hide their gifts. I told them to give them to me to lock in the office. As for Mandy's luggage, I told them to put it on her bed so she'd see it when she got home. We picked out a Christmas card for her, and all 3 kids signed it. I told them the gift would be from them. When Mandy came home, the boys rushed her to her room. Sure enough, she saw the luggage and the card. They all grinned like Cheshire cats. Mandy hugged and kissed each of them, thanking them for the wonderful gift. The next few weeks flew by. Between work and school visits, we were always busy. We bought a tree and put up Christmas decorations. It was the first time in 3 years I'd had a Christmas tree. The presence of the kids made the whole holiday season beautiful. Mandy went to England, and we told Janice and Brad we'd visit them on the 26th. The day after Christmas, the preparations were hectic, but the evenings were wonderful. Every night the 5 of us sat in the living room and watched Christmas programs. I knew that's what I wanted in life. I went shopping and bought Carmen a few things, plus a gift certificate. I figured she could buy what she wanted. Then, I went to a jewelry store and bought her an engagement ring and a very sexy red satin and lace nightgown. These 2 things were my special gifts to her. Christmas morning came. Kids were excited. The boys came downstairs. Santa came. There are all kinds of presents under the tree. I told them to look in their stockings while I made coffee. It was a beautiful sight, watching the 3 kids that morning. Even more beautiful was the joy on Carmen's face each. Then one of them opened a present. Carmen opened gifts. From the kids, from Mark, her favorite movies, from Mike, unicorn, from Molly, perfume. Mommy, that was the last bottle, and I just had enough money, Molly said proudly. Carmen looked at the bottom, saw the $50 price tag, looked at me, and smiled. I got some nice gifts from her too. I hadn't expected anything, but she did her best. Mandy had told her what I liked. On the Christmas tree, I addressed one card to each of the children. I had hidden a bike for each of them somewhere in the house, and they were told where to find it. I have never seen 3 happier children receiving their first bikes. Molly already had a bike, but we bought her training wheels to start with. We bought them for Mark too, though we knew he wouldn't use them. His older brother didn't have them. While the kids played with their toys, I handed Carmen her big box of sexy nightgowns. Wow, that's beautiful. What made you buy it? Carmen asked. I held out a small package. This comes with it. When she opened it, she cried. Inside the box was the ring. I asked her to marry me. She cried and hugged me. Why, Dan? Why? Because I love you. These 2 months have been the best for me. I want you and the kids to be with me always, so. Is the answer yes? Dan, the answer is no. Please hear me out before jumping to conclusions. I love you with all my heart. I am sincere about it, but for now the answer is no. I don't understand. Is it because of my age? Dan, please let me finish. No, it's not your age. It's us. We've only known each other for a couple of months. Yes, they've been 2 of the best months of my life, but it's still only a couple of months. You decided to help a family in need. You've done more for this family than you can imagine. After the holidays, things will go back to normal. People will be themselves. Again, I have a proposition for you. Okay, I'm listening. I want to rent out our rooms. I'll give you $200 a week to help pay expenses. You can have more if you'll let me. I want us to be a family and live as a family. If, in say 6 months or sooner, you think it's not working out, just say the word and we'll make another arrangement. I just want you to be sure. It takes time to get used to a woman in your house. And 3 kids. I need help paying for myself and being productive. I need your family to see that I'm not some fly-by-night skank who wants your money. I need you to realize that I really do love you. And those aren't just words. Time. Dan, all I'm asking for is time. I'm not going anywhere. Until you send me away. She handed the ring back and kissed me again. She asked if she could keep the nightgown. I think I understood what she was trying to say. We shouldn't rush into marriage right away. We should make sure it's something we both really want. I figured I could live with that, but I was hoping to get closer to her, sexually and lovingly. Our day was busy with the kids playing with their toys. It was cold outside, but since there was no snow, the kids wanted to ride their bikes. Carmen and I put on coats and watched them. By mid-afternoon, we got a call from England. It was Mandy. She told us Ross had proposed to her in front of Big Ben, and she had accepted. They're getting married next June. We told her how happy we were for her and wished each other a Merry Christmas. In the evening, we watched a Christmas Story together. Then the kids went to bed. Each of them came in and thanked me for the best Christmas ever. I sat on the bed and listened to Carmen take a shower. Knew that when she was done, the wonderful scent would spread down the hallway. A few minutes later, the bathroom light went off. Then the hall light came on. Carmen stood at my door in her sexy new nightgown. Can I come in? I didn't even answer. She walked in and closed the door. Dan, like I told you before, I love you. But we need to postpone the wedding until you get to know me better. I want it to start tonight. Will you make love to me? I was stunned, but she saw the smile on my face. She walked over to the bed. I pulled back the covers. She slipped inside and lay down next to. The only source of light was the reading lamp. I left it on, so I could see the woman I had been thinking about. For the past 2 months, it was an unforgettable night. When I woke up in the morning, she wasn't in my bed. I got up and looked into her room. She and Molly were sound asleep. I went into the kitchen and started the coffee. When everyone woke up, we had breakfast and then got dressed. We were going to Janice and her family's house. It was time for a big Christmas dinner. Brad and his family were there too. We exchanged gifts. I was surprised that they had bought something for Carmen and the kids. Carmen, in turn, bought gifts for Brad's and Janice's kids, Mandy told her. We always buy for the kids, but not usually for the adults. Brad said, Gail saw this sweater and thought it would look good on you. Everyone talked about Christmas and about Mandy's wedding plans. Later, Brad pulled me aside. Dad, did you propose to Carmen? As a matter of fact, I did. She turned me down. What? I can't believe it. I really believe she loves you, Dad. What happened? Time, Brad. She said it's too soon. She wants to make sure I know what I'm doing. She also wants to contribute money to the household. She doesn't want handouts. She wants a real, loving relationship. So that's what we're going to do. Give it time. Wow, Dad, I've never met a woman like that. Don't lose her. She's special. Time, Brad. We'll give it time. After 5, someday life went on. We became a family. Carmen and I took turns cooking. We opened a joint checking account. I put in $400 a week. She put in $200 from that account. We paid utilities and groceries. Any large purchase we discussed first. So far, we didn't need anything. I usually stopped by Joe's for lunch. I left when Carmen could sit with me a few minutes. We really were like a married couple, except we didn't fight, and made love every chance we got. I remember our first time in the hot tub. Good thing we had a good filter. When it came to making love, Carmen was the best. Maybe it was the fact that I loved her so much. That definitely made the sex better. The only time we had to be careful was when Mandy was home on weekends. We'd ask her to watch the kids so we could go out. She surely noticed, but never said anything. Time flew by, and it was almost Mandy's wedding. She asked Carmen to be her maid of honor. That made Carmen cry. She said she had never had such close friends and family. Mandy would have liked Molly to be her flower girl, but decided to ask one of her nieces. The weeks leading up to the wedding were hectic. At least the weather was warmer. So I opened the pool, while Carmen and Mandy ran around with wedding preparations. I stayed in the pool with the kids. The closer the wedding came, the more I thought about Carmen and myself. I loved those kids. I knew they loved me. I decided to surprise Carmen at the wedding. I asked a few favors, hoping it would work out. The day of the wedding came. I put on my tuxedo. Brad and Rob were in the wedding party, so were Gail and Janice. Everyone was dressed up. The wedding was minutes away. Carmen, as a bridesmaid, was busy. I sat with her kids. "Sit with me in the front row," I told them. Molly, of course, sat right next to me. "Be quiet and just watch the wedding," I said. "I'll need to leave for a moment to walk Mandy down the aisle." The music began. Ross, Brad, and Rob stood in front with the minister. Janice walked down first. "Hi, Aunt Janice," the kids whispered. Gail came next. "Hi, Aunt Gail." Then came Carmen. "Hi, Mommy. You look very pretty." She smiled but raised her finger to her lips. Then came the flower girl and the ring bearer, Janice and Rob's children. Finally, the music changed. Mandy appeared on my arm. We both had tears of joy as I walked her down the aisle. "Wow, Aunt Mandy looks like a princess," Molly whispered, a little too loudly. There were chuckles. From the crowd, I saw Mandy smile. I couldn't think of a better compliment. The ceremony passed beautifully. I looked around at my family, my daughters, my son, my grandchildren, and my girlfriend, whom I truly loved. At the reception, everyone danced. Carmen came to me first. "I love you, Dan." "I love you too, Carmen." "Are you serious? Do you really want this?" "I really mean it." And she kissed me in front of everyone. Later, it was time for the bouquet toss. Mandy threw it straight at Carmen. Then Ross removed Mandy's garter. When it was time for the men to put it on the bouquet catcher's leg, Ross handed it to me. "Sorry, guys. This belongs to my father-in-law." Everyone stared. Carmen sat down. I kneeled, slid the garter up her leg, then stopped. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the ring, and looked up. "Carmen, I have waited another 6 months. In the presence of all my family and friends, I ask you again, will you marry me?" The room fell silent. Then Molly stepped forward. "Say yes, Mommy." Carmen, with tears in her eyes, looked at me. "Dan, I love you with all my heart. Yes, I will marry you." Everyone screamed. Mandy rushed to hug Carmen. The crowd cheered. I doubt there was a dry eye in the place. Certainly not mine. Epilogue: we are now happily married. Carmen quit her job at Joe's Diner. She helps run the gas station and store. Everyone says it's nice to work at such a family-oriented place. We're deciding if I should adopt the children. Molly already calls me Daddy. The boys call me Daddy sometimes. Uncle Dan other times. I think they do it just to confuse their new friends. I look back on my life and wonder, what if I had known about Harvey KD all those years ago? What if Annie hadn't died in that accident? Life is fragile. One mistake early on can change the future forever. It's something to think about. Now I sit on the couch with my new wife. We cuddle while the children play on the floor. The TV glows in front of us. Tonight, we're going to watch a love story. Mark bought his mom Titanic for Christmas. We'll watch it together, all of us, all except Molly. She'll fall asleep about halfway through.
Thanks for watching. What do you think about how everything turned out for Dan, Carmen, and the children? Would you have made the same choices in his place, or walked a different path? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious to hear your take. And if you enjoy true relationship stories, feel free to subscribe. More are coming soon.